So, it's a few stories, maybe insight into why some people are crazy or fucked up. You know, everybody has their own kind of different upbringings, different things that go on around them. And I definitely believe that, nature has a lot to do with it, and nurture has probably more to do with it. I mean, I think some people have a predisposition to being crazy. I think the circumstance surrounding their upbringing and their development also, and the decisions they make, don't want to forget about that. You know, people make their own decisions and choose to live how they choose to live, and sometimes people don't really take into account how that will affect them down the line. I mean, obviously I'm speaking of drugs, alcohol, fucking all the typical things, vices that people have, and things that bring people to strange places in their life. But when I was growing up, I was in like fifth grade. Fifth grade. It's the late '80s, in good old north side of Jacksonville, Florida. And my mom was married for the second time to my stepfather, who I'd lived with since I was like 2. And I had a stepbrother, a stepsister. We had a little 5-person white trash family. Well, I went to my dad's for Christmas or Christmas Eve or whatever, and my stepbrother and stepsister went to their mothers. Well, my mom and stepdad picked me up, and they had already picked up, I guess, my stepbrother and stepsister, from what I remember. And we were riding in the back of our Yugo. We had a fancy brand new Yugo. I think it cost about like $5,000, brand new, late '80s. Well, I remember my mom picked me up from my grandma's house, and we were riding in the back of the Yugo. And my mom turns around, and I could tell that she was going to tell us something that was fucked up, serious or whatever, even though I was, I don't know, 8 years old or something like that. And she tells us, she's like, "Kids, something bad happened. Our house caught on fire. Our house basically burnt down. Was not a total loss, but it was fucked up. Motherfucker had burnt." Well, come to find out, our presents weren't in the house or anything, and I wasn't a dumb kid. I kind of thought that was odd, but next day we opened our presents at my grandma's house, and everything was fine, and we moved into a rental house, and we started rebuilding our house. Well, I didn't think a lot about it. I lived for the next 6 months at the rental house, went to school. Eventually we moved back into the house. Well, as I got older, I kind of pieced it together that something was strange about that situation. We moved back in the house. Of course, we had a lot nicer things, and everything was a lot better afterwards. Well, lo and behold, years later, just a couple years ago actually, my mom finally told me that my stepdad burnt down the fucking house. Originally they had said the Christmas tree caught fire and blah, 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 blah. And nobody was home when the house burnt down but my stepdad. And he wasn't even physically at home. He was on the front of our property, which was about 8.5 acres at the time, at his father's place. And basically, I guess he, Christmas Eve, burned our fucking house down for the insurance money. Which is, at this point, I find it pretty fucking funny. I mean, it's fucked up for sure. But he was a crazy son of a bitch. He was a Marine, real hard-ass motherfucker type that, he talked to you, and if you fucked up, even if you're a little fucking kid, he made you feel like you're a total fucking idiot. Like, what the fuck is your fucking problem? What are you doing? It's always a lot of yelling and crazy chaos. My mom always had on her rose-colored glasses, and everything was fine. They got divorced, and then they got back together, and then blah, 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 blah. It was quite crazy. At this point, my mom's been married 4 times. My dad's been married like 5 fucking times and lives in a camper behind my grandma's house, along with my uncle, who has his own camper and lives also behind grandma's house and grand's house. But yeah, stepdad burnt down the fucking house on Christmas Eve. Pretty ridiculous. Good old insurance fraud, but life was better afterwards. So hey, fucking insurance company, defraud them. They make millions and millions of dollars, and that wasn't even the craziest shit. You know, there was a lot of fucked up stuff. We were little hell-raising youngins. I mean, I had a stepbrother who was 4 months older than me, so basically the same age, and a stepsister who was 2 years younger than me. And we always raised hell, and our stepdad always beating us with a belt for fucking up. I remember we went out in the yard, and so we had all that acres, and we lived on the on a creek, so we were always down in the creek, in the mud, in the gully. We were fucking being bad. I remember one time we found a bucket of tar, took sticks and painted the garage door with tar and wrote shit all over it, and of course we got our asses fucking tore up for that. I remember being out over on the tree, or actually down in the gully first, and I remember we were climbing up the side of the gully because we always dumped bricks and yard debris and all in the side of the gully, this inlet that ran in the property a couple 100 yards. And I remember crawling up, and it was like a fucking movie right there. When I got to the top, there's this towering figure, my stepdad, in the toes of his boots, and he was telling us, yeah, I thought I told y'all not to go down in that gully, and bending us over the old 55-gallon drum in the yard and taking that old belt off and whooping our asses. It didn't really work, because about an hour later we were climbing a tree over the creek, and he caught us then too, and whooped our asses some more. So there was a lot of ass whoopings and a lot of fucked up shit going on. Things that, I don't know, maybe even not fucked up. Maybe more people got their asses tore up. Maybe more people need their asses tore up. I don't know. But I remember when we got caught, after we moved back in the house, from it being rebuilt after it had been burnt down, we were in our bedroom with the door closed, and my stepdad caught us pillow fighting, and for whatever reason that was the end of the world, and he found this 2x4. It's like a cut off 3-foot long piece of 2x4, and he bent us over the bed, and that's what we got. We got beat with the 2x4 for pillow fighting. So it was maybe a bit excessive, but hey, shit happens, you know. Who's to say what's right and what's wrong? I mean, I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying anything. I don't have fucking kids. I don't want kids. I think a lot of the reason I don't want kids is because my chaotic upbringing and you know, and some of maybe the self-doubt that was instilled in me at an early age by my stepdad, and a lot of the reasons I have maybe issues with insecurities and confidence and things of that nature, and maybe why I have tendencies towards violence. But hey, every man is their own man. I'm a grown up, and you know, you got to move past anything that's happened to you and try to be better or stronger than what you were given or how you were raised or whatever. I guess there's no real point to any of this other than me rambling, because I'm sitting alone at the house and losing my mind half the time, all the time, every day, you know, and talking to whoever the fuck I'm talking to keeps me from going too crazy, or at least it gives me an outlet, because sometimes it's hard for me to hear my own thoughts. But if I speak them, I can hear it, and maybe I can absorb it better and help me to get past my own fucking hang-ups. But nowadays, I'm living in a trailer on the west side. I don't think I'll burn it down anytime soon. I ain't got no youngins. Got a bunch of animals. An old lady who treats me, well, she treats me. And I try to treat her as well. But relationships between human beings are very difficult, and you can never know what another person's been through. You never know what their life is really like. You never know another person's thoughts or what goes on inside their head. You can assume, but you know what they say about that, you know. And sometimes the people you think have an easy breezy life sometimes don't, and sometimes the ones that you think had a hard life, they don't. You never know. You don't fucking know. So anyways, this is just more ramblings and more ways to kind of maintain my sanity, and that's all.